Welcome to this short video about creating Google Forms. Google Forms can be useful in the classroom for creating surveys of student interests, creating online assignments, or even assessing their knowledge after an assignment. So let's get started. When you're using Google Forms, the creator will see 3 different versions of the same form. For instance, the form is originally created using an edit screen, which looks something like this, where the questions are designed and the theme is chosen. By clicking a link provided on the bottom of the edit screen, the creator can see what the completed form will look like. This is also the view that the intended recipient will see as well. And then the final screen resembles a spreadsheet. And this is what the form creator will see when the recipients have already submitted all of their results. Now it's time to see the process of creating a Google spreadsheet. First, we need to go to the website, and you can either type in docs.google.com or you can type in drive.google.com. If you haven't done so already, you need to sign into your Google account using a Gmail. This is your Google ID. Next, it's going to pop up with all your Google documents. So what we need to do first is go over here to the big red button. We're going to create something new. We're going to be creating a new form. So we're going to click on Create and come down here to Form. And here's our brand new form. So we need to give this form a title. We're going to call this History of Marshall, Minnesota. And in the next box, we're just going to give our recipients a little bit of information about what this form is. This is a quick survey, knowledge of Marshall, Minnesota. All right. Our first question. Now, we always want to remember, especially if we're using this with students, and if we eventually want to use it with Flubaroo, that the first 2 or 3 questions need to get some personal information from the students. So for my first question, I'm going to ask for first name, and it's just going to be a text. I can use that drop-down menu, but it's just going to be a plain old text box like this for them to type their answer in. I want to make sure that this is a required question. I'm going to click Done. All right, the sample question here, and this is a good way to introduce these buttons way over here on the side. If I click this pencil, I'm able to edit this. So now I'm going to type in last name because we want to make sure we get the student information. Make this a required question. Great. But you'll notice I don't have any more questions to edit here. So that means I have to go up here to where it says Add Item. I'm going to add another text question. And this one is going to be email address. And this is handy when using Flubaroo with a Google form because it'll actually email out the recipient's scores from whatever form that they've used. This again will be a required question. And I'm going to click Done. All right, I want to add a section header because this is kind of their personal information, and now I want them to know, okay, now we're going to, change it up a little bit, and we're going to be actually going into the quiz itself. So up here in the Add Item, I'm going to choose Section Header. I'm going to just give it a name. Please do your best to answer following questions. Okay, perfect, done. Now, as we said, Google has several different kinds of question types. We've already looked at text questions a little bit, but this one we're going to type in another text question, and we're going to say, All right, make this required. They're all going to be required. We're going to add another. This time we're going to add a multiple choice. Now the difference between a multiple choice and a checkbox is that multiple choice only has one right answer, whereas a checkbox might have several possible right answers. What was Marshall, Minnesota originally called? All right, it's multiple choice. Redwood Crossing. It's one choice. Lake Marshall. Or Bloomfield. Okay, those are my choices to choose from. Make it required. Done. Okay, for instance, now if we want to add a checkbox, there could be several possible answers. Who are some of the major employers in Marshall, Minnesota? All right, and we're going to say Foods, Schwann's. Now there could be more than one right answer or a number of possible answers. And so that's the advantage to using a checkbox, especially if there's more than one possible right answer. Okay. We want to make this a required question. We'll say done. Let's try one more different type of question, and that is, let's add a rating scale. Do you think you'll actually use Google Forms in your classroom? All right, and the rating scale, never. Going to try it tomorrow. Let's say immediately. All right, there we go. And now we have a text. We've put together a form to use in Google Forms. Now, if I were to go and want to edit this saying, oh boy, I really want to have a larger rating scale, I can click the pencil and I can go in here and I can actually change this. You know, you could have a rating scale of up to 10 if you really wanted to. And your rating scale would look like that. So there are some options. Now, to see what this looks like, or I should say before we go to see what it looks like, we want to change a theme or put a theme to this Google form. So if I go up here to the top and click on theme, Google Forms offers just, I think, almost 100 different themes that you can use. And we're just going to pick out this one right here. Gives us a little hint of what our form will look like. I'm going to go up here and say apply. And now I'm back to my form again. If I want to see what my form is going to look like, what the recipients will see it, here is my link right down here on the bottom. So this is the link I'm going to click. This is also the link that I'm going to use when I show or when I send it out to my recipients. This is what I want to send to them in an email. And there it is, our history of Marshall, and here's our Google form. If you have any further questions, please let me know and I'll be more than happy to help you with this. Well, you might be asking yourself, what do I do if I want to go back in and make some changes to it? When I look at it in my Google Forms view, it doesn't look like that form any longer. Now it looks like a spreadsheet waiting for answers. And if I'm going to use this with Flubaroo, I want to make sure that the first person that fills out the form is the person who does the answer key. But regardless, if I want to go back and make some changes to my questions, I go up here under Form and I say Edit Form. And up it pops. Now let's say I want to change a question. I can either hit the trash can and delete it, or I'm going to create, let's say, another question, which is going to be a list. And this is going to be a true or false question. And we'll get rid of that so it's not repetitious. All right, so in here we have true and we have false. All right, we want to make this a required question. Now let's say I want to make another true and false question. All I need to do is go over here to the duplicate, and the duplicate button will again give me the same question. So it gives me this true and false, but then I can go up here if I'm just asking another true or false question, and I can type in something new. Handy little thing to use if you want to make more than one question or many questions that have the same answers. You don't have to retype things over and over. When I'm done, I'm just going to click on Save. And our Google form should be complete. I'm just waiting to send it out to my recipients. And I'll use this link on the bottom to share with other people who I want to take my survey. Thank you for listening.